I'm so excited to have our guest today, Sarah Hoover. She's the author of the new best-selling memoir, The Motherlode. Let me tell you, this book is truly the motherlode. I could not put it down. In fact, it was Christmas at our house and we opened presents and I was like, okay, is it time that I can go back and sit on the couch and read my book? Sarah's a new friend. We met a few months ago at a breakfast party and I just knew instantly that I liked her. She was super cool and easy to talk to, and I know that you all are going to feel the same way about her. So welcome to All on the Table, Sarah Hoover.
Oh my goodness, thank you for having me and for this glowing little intro. I couldn't have written it better myself.
I really did love your book, and I want to talk all about it with you. But first, a really important topic, and that's I was reading your cover story of the New York Times style section, and I saw that you love loaded baked potatoes.
Well, duh.
Tell me about the ultimate loaded baked potato.
Okay, so really important to me that it's an Idaho baked potato. Like, I like the really big ones. I have done significant research because they can be hard to find in New York City grocery stores. It turns out that McDonald's has like a monopoly on most of the farms that grow the really big ones.
Really?
So I grew up in the Midwest and I remember always, like almost every night, a big fluffy baked potato. And they're kind of hard to come by now.
Yeah.
And from my research, that's why. But I like a big fluffy Idaho baker. I like it to, when I cook them myself, I put olive oil on the outside and roll them in sea salt. And so I like the outside to be crispy and salty.
Yeah, because you want to eat that skin.
Of course. I want to, okay, so the second I get it steaming hot, I open it, I do the butter, I like mix it and make it like mashed potatoes. And if there's cheese, I do the cheese at the same time so it gets really gooey. And
what kind of cheese do you like?
Well, I'll do anything. I really like Munster, but in a restaurant they never have Munster.
No.
In a restaurant they always have like white cheddar, which is good too, but Munster melts so beautifully, also really good on a bagel. I like to then close the potato back up to make sure it gets like really, really gooey. And then bite by bite, I add in my sour cream and my bacon. And I'm also particular about my bacon. I really like Benton's bacon.
Oh,
It's like
Benton's.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a
smokehouse that I
Southern
like.
brand,
Yes.
right? Where do you get that?
You order it online.
Oh, okay.
Keep it in your freezer.
Do you like it extra crispy?
Obviously, yes. Extra crispy.
I feel like there's no other way to eat bacon than extra crispy. Like, I don't want it to be like soft and flabby, fatty.
And the one thing I really don't get is what's it called? Like Canadian bacon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
no
like, that's just a
interest.
slice of ham. I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
just call it what it is.
Yeah.
But someone from Canada is going to be so upset about that. But
is it like a thing in Canada?
is that where it is? I just
don't
guessed that
know.
from the
Like,
name.
I know the name, but like, is it like their national breakfast dish? I need someone to tell me.
We need this to make more sense. I will say that sometimes before school, I will take my kid to a diner for breakfast, which is so fun. And it's such a New York thing. And there aren't that many really good diners left. And I remember them from being younger here. So there's like one or two that I'll take him to. And the other day, we were ordering and we both got bacon and they know us and they know that we like it extra crispy. And this couple next to us, my favorite thing to do when I'm out eating with my kid is people watch and make up stories about the people around us, right? Because you got to keep them entertained somehow.
And in New York.
And in New York, there's
some
yeah.
good people watching.
You're just every single person, every single table, it's like its own little movie. So we're watching the people next to us and the woman ordered rye toast and Canadian bacon. And my kid was just like flabbergasted. He was like, what's wrong with her? Yeah. It's like, I can't explain it. Oh, and then my other thing that I have to have on a loaded baked potato is a scallion.
Oh, that's a must. I agree.
think scallions and chives to me are ingredients that make things sing in such a special way. They're like, I don't know if they're considered herbs or onion. I don't know, but they're
I guess
favorite.
they're onion family, but I think of them as an herb as well.
Me too. And it's my favorite of all the
And like
herb
you're finishing with them, like you'd finish with fresh herbs.
They're so good.
Do you have any restaurants that make a good loaded baked potato?
Strip house.
Oh, I haven't been there in years.
You got to go to like a steakhouse usually for a loaded
the
baker.
best thing about a steakhouse are the sides.
Are the potato sides especially.
And I mean, the baked potato. My husband's not into baked potatoes. I don't understand it. Like I could eat one every day.
I could eat one every day. I could eat a sweet potato every day. I love
sweet
both
potato.
kinds.
I love a Japanese sweet potato.
Oh, that's fancy. That's when you're feeling yourself, you know.
Do you go to Hillstone?
If I could get a table.
I know you can't get a reservation there.
I know. I'm not like important enough in this world, but
I just can't crack the code there either.
I've asked so many hostesses at the front, like sweet talks. I would go in when I was really pregnant. I had, there's like that imaging place by there where you get sonograms. I don't know if you went to that one.
No, I didn't go to that one.
And so it was like it was part of my regime my self-care, if you will, that I would get my sonogram and go to Hillstone's.
Uh-huh.
And I like would waddle in so pregnant and they'd be so sweet to me because I was, like large and looked miserable. And I'd be like really milking it. Like, how would a 8-month pregnant girl get a reservation if she, really was desperate for artichokes or whatever? And they gave me nothing. They'd be like,
Nothing.
call 2 hours before, starting at 5 o'clock, we start making calls for the next day to see who's going to cancel their reservation. So if you call us in that 2-hour window, you might get a last minute cancellation.
They
Like,
told me the same. I tried to, and I got the same response.
but I will say they said it so nicely, and the way they train their staff, and it's clearly so top down because everyone there is like, it's a delight to go to that
really
restaurant.
is. It's like going to a Four Seasons hotel.
They know what they're doing.
The training must just be like a
Impeccable.
huge manual. I would love to get my hands on their training manual. actually,
Absolutely.
and
There's
just see what
secrets
all
in there.
they go through. for
Yeah.
that. But the loaded baked potato there, that and the Hawaiian ribeye together is like the ultimate.
Okay. We have the exact same Hillstone order. And sometimes I go to, they have like so many different restaurants with different names, and not all of them have that Hawaiian ribeye on the
Oh,
menu, and
no.
it's always very devastating to me.
I also love their ribs.
Oh yeah, the ribs are
The
gorgeous.
ribs are so good. We decided to do Hillstone at home last night. Like my husband made ribs. We had a phony Hillstone meal. So he
Heaven.
made ribs and I made the coleslaw because there was a Bon Appetit article years ago with the coleslaw recipe.
And it's mayonnaise or vinegar? It's mayonnaise.
It's mayonnaise.
Yeah, which is my favorite.
It's mayonnaise. We were almost out of mayonnaise though, so I had to add in
National
yogurt.
emergency.
I know.
Mayonnaise is one of my favorite things.
Oh,
I
the
one time
best.
I was starving and my delivery was late. I'm not above this. I ate mayonnaise with a spoon from the jar to stave off the hunger until my delivery
I see
could get
nothing
there.
wrong with that.
Thank
When
you.
I was pregnant, the only thing I wanted to eat basically was mayonnaise.
It's
And
so
like I'd
salty
make a
and yummy.
sandwich and I'd have the jar with the knife, like putting the mayonnaise on every single bite.
Oh
Was
yeah.
heaven.
I like a
Heaven.
soft white bread, mayonnaise. I take a tomato. I peel the tomato. I salt
you
and pepper
peel
the
it.
tomato. I don't want to deal with the peel.
Wow.
And put that on soft white bread with mayo is like my
A
heaven. in the
tomato
summer.
mayonnaise sandwich is the best in
Mhm.
the summer. Oh my God. I never peeled the tomato though. That's fancy.
Because when you're like biting it and like the peel comes off weird. I just like to
Yeah.
save myself that torture.
Does Indiana have good tomatoes?
I will tell you that if you haven't had an Indiana tomato in the month of August, you haven't fully lived yet. I think they're better.
Really?
Like Italy, no. New Jersey, no. I mean, the South has beautiful produce.
It really does. I mean, up
Beautiful
here, we're all like Long Island tomatoes, New Jersey tomatoes, but
That's to me a provincial outlook because the most beautiful produce in this country comes from, Indiana tomato, Indiana peaches, Indiana cantaloupe.
corn, I gotta
Corn is
imagine.
unbelievable. And I know it only gets better the farther south you go, like the
How
warmer the
long
weather.
have you been in New York?
I moved here when I was 18, so like 20 plus years.
Okay.
'Cause I'm in my early hundreds now, so I've lived here a long
Same,
time. Yeah.
same, yeah. I've
It's
been
more
here,
my
like,
home.
22 years.
Right. Well, we're on the exact same schedule. So like it feels totally like home to me. I've lived here longer than I lived in Indiana, but when I go home, there's just something about it that will forever feel like a comfort.
I'm the same way. Like I've lived here much longer than I
Mhm.
lived in West Virginia, but and New York is definitely home. But when I go home, it's like, oh, this is who I am.
I can take a deep breath in a totally different way, and I love it so much. And I
Yeah.
get to go home this weekend on my book tour. I'm so
Oh, that's
excited.
exciting.
I know, and I haven't been in a long while actually because I have a young baby at home. And I was
Yeah.
pregnant whenever I wasn't really traveling. I was sick in the pregnancy, and I haven't been in so long, and it's a little unfortunate of a time to go because I don't get any produce in January.
That's true. What's the first thing you got to eat when you get home?
Well, my mom owns a restaurant.
Oh, that's
She's
right.
a
I wanted to ask
restaurateur.
you. Your mom's
Yeah.
a restaurateur.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So when I was 6 years old, my mom was a sex crimes prosecutor. She worked in the second sex crimes unit in America. And she was trained as a lawyer, and she got pregnant with my little brother. And she was really, really sick in her pregnancy. And she had a male doctor. And the doctor said to her, at the time, the food landscape in Indiana was like entirely fast food. Every fast food chain nationwide would like test their concepts in Indiana. So there were a million fast food restaurants, not a lot big local dining scene. And the doctor said to her, oh, like you still have morning sickness. You're really unwell. I think you need to eat healthier. Have you tried the salads at McDonald's? And she was like, I'm sorry, what? And she thought to herself, this is so messed up. If you drive like 30 minutes from my house in any direction, you're on a farm. And farms for miles, like all you can see are farms. And most of that produce gets like bought and shipped other places and is not served in the restaurants that we have here in town. So she'd never worked in a restaurant. She'd never cooked outside of her home before. And she was like, I'm going to open a restaurant and I'm going to serve ingredients from the farms around, which was like a novel concept. This was in 1989. Like no
Totally
one
novel
else, very
concept.
few other people
Yeah.
were doing it in America at all. And if they were, it was like in more coastal areas. And so she opened her first restaurant and just served breakfast and lunch so that she could pick us up from school. And some of this is in my book, but like obviously was met with extreme resistance from, she couldn't get a loan from a bank without my dad's name on the paperwork. You know, contractors didn't want to work with her because they thought she'd go out of business and never be able to pay their final bills. The contractor that she did end up working with told her, well, don't install a dishwasher, save your money because this is never going to work.
Oh my God.
You know, women in her community said, that's so embarrassing that you have to open a restaurant and your husband can't provide for you. Like she just faced extreme resistance to this thing that she knew people needed and that was really important to her. And like she always says, I opened a restaurant to feed my community the way I wanted to feed my family at home. And there was just no one else doing it. And she like, I don't know, opened 20 of them in subsequent years. Yeah.
Wow. What's it called?
The restaurant group is called Café Patachou, Patachou, which is a play on the French word for cream puff, puff pastry, because when she left her job, her boss said, it's never going to work out for you. You're nothing but a cream puff.
Oh God. Well, now she has her ultimate.
Yes. She loves
you.
her work. At one point, she was like the largest female-owned restaurant group in America, which I have no idea if it's still true.
That's incredible.
And she's the largest supporter of family-owned farms in the Midwest. She has like many
Wow.
farms that grow just for her restaurant group. And it's
Wow.
really special. So when I get home, I always go eat at her restaurants. And I don't like, there are some actually really exciting new spots to eat in Indianapolis with young chefs who are, you know, James Beard winners and all that. But I crave certain things that she makes that I just think are perfect.
What's the number one?
Well, the food that she cooks is really, really simple. Her breakfast and lunch menus are like omelets and huge crunchy salads with beautiful ingredients and, you know, poached chicken that they make in-house and roasted turkeys and stuff like that. So it's not crazy fancy, but
That's my favorite kind of food.
absolutely. And all I ever want for lunch, and weirdly hard to find in New York City. So I love her turkey chili. On Fridays, they make matzo ball soup from my grandma's recipe, and I will be there on Friday. So I'll have matzo ball soup. I'll get my turkey chili fix. She makes the best chicken salad I've ever had in my life. Beautiful homemade breads. And I'll probably get like a Cobb salad, something like, I mean, when I go in, I go hard. Like I've memorized that menu is tattooed on my body basically. I've waited tables all through high school. I could like get in there and put my own order in if I had to. You know, I know what to do. And so I like get a little bit of everything. And she makes my favorite thing. She makes the best cinnamon toast I've ever had in my life. And I know it's a simple thing to make cinnamon toast, but I'm telling you, it's superlative.
It's so comforting.
Oh, it's my favorite. And cinnamon sugar.
My grandpa would make cinnamon sugar toast and I loved it.
Exactly. And by the way, I will die on this hill. Cinnamon sugar is better than chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Cinnamon sugar.
I could be persuaded to that argument.
I'm telling you, with salty butter and melted cinnamon sugar.
I'm so glad you reminded me of cinnamon toast. I got to make that for my daughter.
Absolutely.
I loved it when I was a kid.
We call it breakfast cake at my house.
Ooh. Yeah, I remember my grandpa would take the white bread and he would put 5 pats of butter. It'd be like 1, 2.
Oh, he was a real one. He knew what to do.
5 little pats of butter, sprinkle it with cinnamon sugar and under the broiler.
It's divine.
Delicious. Delicious.
One of my
Now,
faves.
did you always know you wanted to come to New York?
Yeah, I really did. I mean, I didn't grow up in a family that like went to Europe and traveled to New York City. The first time I came to New York, I think, was to look at colleges. But I had a grandfather.
Did you go to NYU?
I went to NYU, yeah. And then I went to Columbia for graduate school. But I had a grandfather who grew up extremely like poverty stricken in the Bronx to an immigrant single mother who had come from Poland. And he talked about New York all the time. And he was also an intellect. He spoke 5 languages. He, at the time, I guess when he was growing up in New York, you could get into museums for free. They're not all free now, but I think that was, a Depression era advantage. And he told me about MoMA and would talk to me about, the Met. And he just like instilled in me this love for being somewhere cosmopolitan, even though I'd never been somewhere cosmopolitan. And he took me to like the opera and the ballet when they came to town. And he would take me to the local art museum in Indianapolis on the weekends. And it really like stirred something in me that made me think that one day I would live somewhere that had all of those, attributes to offer all the time. And then I got really into ballet when I was like a young teenager, and I took it really seriously. And I would go to summer camps in the summer in different cities. And I came one summer to a summer camp in New York, and we went to see New York City Ballet perform. And they performed, I was like 9, and I will never forget this. They performed a piece by the choreographer Jerome Robbins called Glass Pieces, which is set to music by the minimalist composer Philip Glass. And his music is like exceptionally beautiful, but it also sounded like nothing I had ever heard. It wasn't Mozart, but it also wasn't pop music. And it like blew my mind. And the ballet is sort of about living in New York City, and the first act of it, it's short, it's maybe 25 minutes in total, but the first act like mimics walking in a New York City street. And I watched, and I'd never seen anything like that. And my brain like basically exploded. And I thought to myself, I have to live where people make stuff like that. I did not know that there were people whose jobs were doing that kind of art. And I will not be happy in my life unless I'm like around them. And it became my goal to move to New York. And I would tell people before I'd ever even been here, I'm going to college in New York, before I ever got in anywhere, before I ever applied. And then I made it happen. And it really does feel, I'm like still a huge ballet fan. When the ballet's in season, I go 3 nights a week, sometimes by myself. I go to museums every week. I go to the opera, I go to the symphony. It's like really important to me the way it's interwoven in my life. And it's hard to find a city that offers all of those art forms at the level that New York does.
Isn't it amazing thinking as a parent that at 9 years old, something like that can have such a significant effect on a child that it shapes the trajectory of their life?
When you were saying that your daughter loves art classes, it's so formative when you're young to see and experience art the way she does. And it gives you a vocabulary that you just can't, it has to come to you naturally. It's like it will be in her brain mapped in there forever, even if from when she's 15 and like telling you she hates you and slamming the door to when she's 22 and realizes, oh, you are pretty cool. Even if she doesn't look at art at all in that period, even if she like fails art history in school because she's busy like smoking in the alley with her cool girlfriends or whatever, it will forever be stamped into her brain, and she will forever be able to look at and understand art from the perspective of like actually doing it and loving herself as a kid. And I just think that's so major.
It's really one of the best things about living in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, there's trade-offs to living here.
Yeah,
but that's
for sure.
One,
There are huge trade-offs for living here. And like you hear people say, oh, I would never want to raise kids in New York City. And I used to think that way. So, and there's still days where I'm like, oh my God, raising a kid in New York is really hard.
It's tricky.
And like you see a rat at the playground and it's like, oh my God, get me out of here. But we have so much to offer as well.
I know.
Like getting to have all those things. I look at you and think about like how you came from Indiana, you got to New York. Like you're like the ultimate New York cool girl.
Oh, really?
Like, saying this from someone
cool, but
who always feels like such a nerd. But like you've got the fashion, you've got the art, you know where to go eat. Like it's like you have all these things. Like how did you figure it out?
Well, a lot of like rejection and heartbreak and trial and error, I guess. And, I think it helps when you go to college in a city, you kind of have you have those 4 years before anyone else. Like the people who moved here after college, I already knew my way around.
Right. You had a little leg up.
Yeah, you have a leg up. And also because I went to college here, like when I first started my previous career before I wrote a book was in the art world. I worked at a major international gallery from when I was in graduate school. I worked there for 14 straight years and I loved it so much. It was so fun. But when I worked there, I was in Chelsea, where most of the galleries in New York are. It's like the gallery district. And there were, 20 other galleries on the block. And I knew the front desk girl at every single one because she had like been in art history class 101 with me at NYU, or we were in a writing seminar together at Columbia. Like I already had a network here. And that was such an advantage because I could like pop in and it wasn't intimidating. Like that barrier to entry was gone. I knew people places just from that. So I don't know. I think coming here like as early as you can and to entrench yourself. And also it's a city that rewards the curious. Like it's an extraordinarily expensive place. It's really difficult. Like I didn't come here with a trust fund, but you can pay what you want at many of the museums. You can get cheap tickets to see things on Broadway. You can get, when you're under 30, you can get tickets for $30 to see the ballet. Like I worked all of those systems because I was really, really curious and I was really hungry and I wanted to see everything. And like, I don't think there's another way to do New York. You have to be hungry.
Yeah, and that breeds success.
And you have to be willing to suffer a little bit because like my early apartments were disgusting. Like 6th floor walk-ups with cockroaches and paper thin walls and neighbors that had a lot of sex.
But you probably loved it.
I loved every minute of it. I loved every second, and I felt incredibly alive. And like I now have a horrific phobia of cockroaches, but who doesn't? Like
I have one of mice and rats. Like,
oh, that's your thing.
the rodents are my thing. I can handle a cockroach. I can step on that and kill it.
Oh,
but-
we're opposites. I'm like, mice are kind of cute. I don't know, like-
there's nothing that.
Well, you're
grosses me
smarter
out
than
more.
me because they also carry disease, and cockroaches apparently don't.
And
Don't
and
call them
And
out.
I'll also never forget like my first mouse and seeing the mouse run across my floor.
It like made eye contact with you and scampered.
and it didn't care.
Yeah.
New York mice don't care.
Oh no. They're empowered.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, they're like, fuck you. You're in my city. Get out.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of suffering, your book, let's talk about the Motherlode.
Let's do it.
Can you give a brief synopsis for listeners
of course.
what it's about?
Yeah, so I had my first child in 2017, and I had a, by all accounts, normal pregnancy and labor. No like alarms went off. I didn't have an emergency C-section. Nothing scary happened, but all the same, I was traumatized by the experience. I felt like really violated in birth. I think I had been mildly depressed, at least during my pregnancy. I felt really lonely and really scared. And when they like pulled my baby out of my body after 19 hours of labor and put him on me, I had expected to have this explosive fall in love hormonal fireworks show in my body. And instead I felt like absolutely nothing. I felt zero love for him, zero curiosity, zero joy. And it made it really hard to be a mother. It sort of was the tipping point that launched me into a severe postpartum depression. And when you're depressed and you can't find joy, it makes it so hard to parent because there's so many things about parenting that are like difficult and mind numbing and no fun, like changing diapers or staying up all night. But if you're well and you're happy and you're excited and you're curious, there's like ways to find delight in all of that. And I could never find the delight because I was just in this cloud of like really, really heavy. I was totally disassociated and detached and depressed. And it got worse and worse as the months went on. And about a year after I had him, I found myself like sitting at my kitchen table, wondering about the easiest way to like escape my life and escape this world. And I thought, okay, that's not right. Something's really, really wrong. And I like immediately but like, thank God, some voice in my head was like, okay, you need to get it together. Like this has gone way too far. And I immediately got myself into therapy and like started on a path to coming back to myself and becoming who I normally was, which is like bubbly and happy and in love with my life. And it took another year to get there. And during COVID and a little bit before was like reading. I'm a journaler. I write in my journal every morning. I went back and I was reading all my journals from that time period. And I was like, damn, she was crazy. And she was so crazy that it's actually kind of funny. And I was so like rage filled. I remember being so mad that the world had led me to believe that motherhood would just be like natural and wonderful for me and that there was no other narrative out there. And I was like being depressed about being a new mom is a rational choice because it's insane what you go through. A baby comes out of a hole in your body and then your whole world is different forever. Like, who wouldn't find that shocking and find that a disruption to their identity and a huge rupture with their past life? And I decided to write the book that I wished I had had while I was on that journey myself.
I mean, what really struck me with your book, I sometimes think memoirs can be kind of boring
Totally.
because people don't really reveal themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's human nature to want to protect yourself from
Yep.
other people and to put up kind of a shield. You really lay it all out there. And I just found it to be like so honest
Thank you.
that I couldn't stop reading it because I just kept wanting to experience it through your words, and the way that you write is so engaging as well. And like, you really tell stuff on yourself.
I do.
And I had a really opposite experience. So it was really interesting to me to learn what that feels like. And it's like hearing about postpartum depression, and then like what you talked about with, they give you, what's the quiz called? Of
The
what,
Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale. Yeah.
yeah, and how it's like the medical system fails women on how to identify how they're feeling after birth.
Oh, yeah. Huge failure. I was joking. I was talking to Postpartum International, which is like a large nonprofit organization that does amazing work. And I was like, we need to rewrite this questionnaire and have it ask things like, is your husband annoying the shit out of you on a scale of 1 to 10? Like, where are you? But yeah, that questionnaire.
That's definitely real.
Right?
Yeah.
That questionnaire didn't speak to me, and I thought had some real failings, but it goes so beyond that because like I was traumatized by the way the medical system treated me in my birth. I think a lot of women are, especially if you've been sexually assaulted, as so many women have. If you suddenly find yourself out of control of your own body with someone harming you, doing things that cause like real pain in your body, especially in an intimate area of your body, it's so triggering. And you can't help but like bring all of your past into that hospital room, and it's the most dangerous day of your life. Like, it is very real.
I think we forget that a lot of times,
Yep.
that it is extremely dangerous to be pregnant and give birth.
The maternal health statistics in America are obviously abysmal. They're at the very bottom. And I knew that going in. And like, there is a very real chance when you go into the hospital to give birth that something can go wrong. And I was like all too aware. And I was just so terrified. But thank you for saying those nice things about my book, because I had never written anything before that wasn't like an art history essay or a press release or something like that. Only academic things,
I like books that sound like that you're talking to the person.
Yeah, me too.
And I felt like that this was you just telling me your story.
That was
when I
really
reading
important
it.
to me. So I'm glad I was able to do that, because I wanted to read the kind of book that I wanted to write the kind of book that I love reading, And like, I'm a voracious reader, and I love to read things where it just feels real and feels natural, and where I like can imagine being one of the girlfriend characters or something. So that was really, really, really important to me that I accomplished that as well,
I really liked when you talked about intrusive thoughts. That was something that I really identified with.
So many mothers. Right?
And when we always hear like people say, oh, nobody tells you what it's going to be like. And it's true. No one does tell you what it's going to be like. Everyone loves to say that no one's going to tell you. And then they
don't tell you either.
Yeah. Like, I felt like afterwards I had no idea the way that my anxiety would skyrocket over this little human, and like thinking the very worst things that could happen. And at all moments, just thinking like I can remember like crying because I was afraid that the bathroom floor was a marble floor and that I could slip and she would fall and bust her head open. Like, just irrational thoughts all the time of anxiety.
It's oppressive. It's really heavy, and it's like just such a unspoken burden that I think all mothers carry, Like, I had this idea in my head that I had to think those thoughts because it would protect me from them actually happening. Like, if I thought of it, it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
It was the thing that you didn't think of that was going to happen,
Yeah.
And like, it is irrational, but you also hear horror stories. It is also all these thoughts, they're not things that, my fears weren't aliens are going to come down and take my baby. My fears were a car's going to hit the stroller when I'm out walking him on the street. And that happens. You read it every so often in the news and you're like, thank God it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So like there's an aspect of it. That's the most pernicious part, I think. The dangerous part about it and the way that you totally spiral is that like it's not totally crazy.
And it's like this other person now has your heart.
Absolutely.
And anything that happens to them happens to you. And it's this feeling of intense protection.
It's at the end of the day an expression of how capable you are of love. And there's something really beautiful about that. But you cannot live your life with intrusive thoughts all day long because like it was impeding my ability to be a happy person in this world. And babies need happy mothers.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I still have those intrusive thoughts sometimes, you know, that come in and I'm like, okay, let's really think about how is this going to play out.
Yeah.
I remember when I was getting ready to go for my 6-week checkup, one of my friends saying to me, if your doctor asks you if you have thoughts of death, say no, which I thought about death all the time after having a baby. I never thought about dying before, but it became such a thing that I would think about because I thought, what if I died and what would happen to her? But my friend told me that she told her doctor, yeah, I think about death all the time now. She made that note in her chart. And when she went to get life insurance, they raised her life insurance because they said that she had thoughts of death and could be suicidal.
Oh, well, I'm never getting life insurance after this book.
But like that's such a failure to women.
That's horrific.
Horrible.
That's incredibly messed up. I mean, the insurance industry is predatory.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not articulate enough to explain all the reasons why, but that's horrible. And also there is this very real thing that especially happens to like low income women, which is that when you cop to whatever mental illness you're suffering from, like your baby could get taken away.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Scary.
And like, it's so scary. And it just shows you how these industries like don't actually care. They are not empathetic and they don't actually serve the women that they claim to in like a meaningful way. I was hyper focused on death after my child. I thought constantly about my own death, about my firstborn's death, about my mother's death, like to the point where I cried multiple times a day. I fixated on it. I couldn't think of anything else. And I think the artist Faye Ray, a friend of mine who's an amazing artist, said to me, once you deliver a baby, you are birth literate, but you're also death literate because you've just seen things. Like, you know how life comes into this world and you have an understanding that it's precious and that it's a miracle every time and that it's going to end. And like that ending is so heartbreaking to me. I feel like I'm almost like constantly pre-grieving the loss of like my parents and thinking about what that will mean for my own son. Like you just become so hyper aware of the life cycle once you participate in it.
I totally agree. I never used to think about death and I never used to be afraid of death. And now it's something that is a real fear for me.
It plagues me.
Yeah. We went on a trip that was our first trip of just the two of us. And it was with a group of friends. And I realized that everybody who was going to be on the plane would be who I would have in my will as her
to take care of her.
To take care of her. And I went into a tailspin, like for a week, couldn't sleep. I ended up going to my lawyer and like adding people to my plan. It's like you just become obsessed with this little person and taking care of them.
You absolutely do, but it also just shows you like women are so capable of multitasking and they're so emotionally complex, like that you had all of those thoughts and you were also like providing for your family and cooking and doing all the other domestic chores.
Had none.
Yeah, exactly. And he was sleeping great at night.
I would say it's good to be a dad.
It must be so nice.
Good to be a dad.
Must be so nice, you know? Yeah, there's like this unspoken burden that I think mothers bear that's just
for sure
real heavy, the weight of the world.
A lot of amazing things, but there is a burden emotionally that comes along with it. What did you think when you were writing this and then having to turn it over and let your mom and your husband read it after you had been so revealing? What was that experience like?
I'm really close with my mom, and I'm obviously close to my husband. So the entire time I was writing it, I would like send them snippets and be like, read this, read this. Like it really poured out of me. And it was really exciting to finally find, I had never, like, I'm not good at art. I danced as a kid, but I hadn't done ballet in forever. So to like find an art form that clicked for me was such a joy that I like couldn't stop writing. And I wanted to share what I was writing with everyone I knew. So I had been sharing stuff with them all along. There are tricky things that I say about both of them in the book. I mean, it's kind of salacious about my husband, and also like I think to me heartbreaking about my mom, because like we all have complicated relationships with our mothers. And I think, I don't know about you, but for me, like I have a dream relationship with my mother, and it's not the relationship I have with her necessarily. And I will, I think, die wanting more from her. And I write about that, and that is like a hard mirror to hold up to someone that you love so much. But they both said to me really early on, like, this is your story, and you might be able to help other people with it, and you should not hold back on account of us.
That's
My
true
husband
love.
always says, like, make me sound worse. Sell the story, like make it, don't let the truth get in the way of a good tale. And it is really supportive. But like my husband's an artist, so he has done this in his own life, and he understood it at that level. And I think, yeah, my mom was just like, go for it. I believe, and I've talked to her about it, had her own postpartum depression after my birth. I'm the first, and of course had no resources or way of dealing with it in the 80s in Indiana. And so I think it felt personal for her, and like she spent a lot of time in her life advocating for other women. She was a sex crimes prosecutor. And so I think it felt important to her to like let me have my moment to tell my own narrative, which is like all a person can do, is just tell their own story. And like, I mean, my biggest hang up was that my mom was going to read about my sex life, you know?
I know. I feel like
So
that would be the
awkward.
hardest part.
Yeah.
Or your dad.
Yeah, I'm like,
reading
Dad,
it.
you're going to have to skip like pages, blah, 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 blah.
You
But
just like blackline his book. Like these
basically.
are the ones that you can't read. No, I thought it was really moving, and also reading about the relationship with your mom, and like the way that we are sometimes so shitty to our moms, like
Oh
the
my
person
God.
who loves us the most. And then I think about that, and with my kid, when she is always crying more with me, whining more with me, it's like that's because it's the person you feel the most comfortable with.
Totally.
Is
It's
that
an
you can
extension
just
of yourself.
yeah, let it all hang out with your mom.
I do think that my relationship with my mother when I was a teenager, when I was my worst self, and I was awful, I wouldn't wish me on anyone. But I do think that we both had therapy and had tools to communicate better. And if we lived in a different time in a different world, I think our relationship would have had less strife in it at that time. And I hope that with my kids, I will be able to give them like more language and communication tools to use, so that I'm never in that place where I'm like slamming doors and screaming and being awful, because I was so awful. And it like caused a rupture between us that took until adulthood for me to find a way to fix. Like my mom's my best friend now, but there was a time when like she probably hated me. I was hateable, but like I don't want that to be the situation with my kids. And maybe it's like arrogant or naive to think that it doesn't have to be that way. But I have New York City mom friends who's like their daughters talk to them about their sex lives. They have incredibly open relationships. It's
I know, I
really
hear about people
different.
like that, and it's so different than
Like
how we grew up.
I could have never.
Never.
But these girls will come home and be like, oh my gosh, so and so kissed so and did this, and I think I need birth control, and just like really open and non-judgmental. Not that my mom would have been judgmental, but I was too scared to even go there, you know? And these girls just aren't. And I'm like, good for you, own it.
Right, there's not shame around it.
Right. And like, if there's one thing I learned through this whole process, I would say these little snippets of truth to people. And I would be so scared to be like, you know, people would say, how do you like being a mom? And they would expect the answer back, it's amazing, it's magical. And every once in a while, I would really get brave. And I would be like, I don't think I'm suited for it, or something like that. A little sliver of my truth. And most of the time, the person would say, oh yeah, girl, I hated it too. That's fine. Don't worry, like you'll get there. And it would be such a relief.
Mhm.
And so I finally said to myself, like, if I'm going to write this book, I'm not going to hold back, and I'm not going to let like my own shame and embarrassment hold me back, because it might be helpful to other people. And it turns out when you say your shame out loud, most of the time, other people have felt something similar and have empathy.
Absolutely.
And I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. And
It's like everybody has shit their pants at some point.
if
And
you
so
haven't lived,
yeah,
like, then you
like,
haven't eaten the tacos
so
from the street truck.
yeah, so
You're
it's like most people share experiences and are just too afraid to say it.
Yeah, because and like you feel lonely and you feel like you're alone in that experience, but like there's nothing you could go through that someone else hasn't gone through, you know? And I just kept realizing that more and more. And like when I was writing, I would sometimes be like, I would feel myself blush, or I would feel like tension in my body about a certain scene or a certain fact that I was revealing. And that was an indication to me that I like needed to push and I needed to go there. And I wanted to say these things that no one had said to me, because just was like, I want to give the gift to one person out there of making them feel comfortable about this thing. And I would like write it and read it out loud in the mirror just to get comfortable with it. And I found that the more I did that, like the less shame I had about everything, you know? And I want women to live in a shame-free world.
What a great exercise to do
It
that.
works. My therapist told me to do it. I
Yeah,
didn't come up with
that's
that,
a
but
really, really good one.
Mhm.
So how old is Guy now?
He's 7. I have a big boy.
7.
And Fred,
And how old's Fred?
8 months.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
I have a
he's
big age difference,
little.
you know? I had a
Yeah.
really hard time.
Yeah.
First of all, I was absolutely traumatized, and I had to do a lot of therapy and work to ever even think about having another baby. But then I couldn't get pregnant. Like, I went through IVF. I did the rounds, did all the things. And so they have a pretty far apart age gap, which is, I think, rare, but like I kind of love it. It kind of works. He can
Yeah.
kind of take care of himself.
You're having a different experience now.
I got the birth that people had told me was possible. It was like spiritual. It was magical. She came out, and I wouldn't say that I was like heart explosion in love, but I was so curious and so delighted by her, and I was so happy she was there, and it was just peaceful, and it felt natural, and it felt right. And I was like, oh, this is what people talk about, you know?
Mhm.
And like when they would wheel her to the nursery at night when I was in the hospital, I'd like miss her. And the first time I was in the hospital, I couldn't get him away fast enough. I would look over in that plastic bin and just think, oh my God, I'm stuck with this forever. This is my life now. And with her, I'd be like, bring her back for one more minute. I want to smell her, you know? And it was so, if I just felt at peace in a way.
Yeah.
And bringing her home was so exciting. And her giggle, like everything about her now brings such joy to my life.
I'm so glad you got to have that experience.
I'm so lucky. Like, I turned it around for myself. And if I could do it, anyone could do it. I was psychotic. I had voices in my head, you know? And there's like hope out there for anyone who's going through it in the pregnancy or early postpartum days. Like, there is light at the end of the tunnel, I swear.
That's a wonderful sentiment. I feel like to have that peace and like to let women know that they're not alone and
No.
it can get better.
Absolutely. Most people I talk to when I say, oh, I wrote a book because I had postpartum depression, they're like, really? Me too. 8 out of 10 women say me
8
too.
out of 10.
To me, in my anecdotal
Uh-huh.
experience, I hear that from people
Wow.
over and over and over.
Wow.
They maybe didn't recognize it at the time,
Mhm.
or it presented differently than mine did. I mean, a lot of the ways that I felt the most tortured were I was rage filled. I hated my husband. I was so angry that he got to go back to work and back to his life, and that he wasn't wearing an adult diaper. And I was like, I wanted to ruin him.
No one tells you the adult diaper thing either.
I got like one mention from my doctor at my last appointment. Oh, you might want to bring like pretty big pads or diapers. And I was like, wait, what?
No one had told me. And then my agent, who's also my friend and a male, he told me, oh yeah, you should I made for my wife. I mean, the sweetest man. He's like, I made for my wife these pads where I would soak the aloe and put them in the freezer. And I was like, wait a second, what?
Well, he's an ally. We like
Yeah.
him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is definitely one of the good ones. Okay, so I want to shift gears.
Okay.
And ask you some food questions.
Oh, let's go. All right.
Yeah.
This is the good stuff.
I want to know, like, what's mealtime like at your house with your family?
Well, okay. I grew up having dinner at the table with my parents and my siblings every night. And it was like a real napkins in the lap, please and thank you, yes, ma'am, yes, sir situation. That's not dinner time at my house. It's like full chaos, you know? And like my kids are so far apart in age that they eat at totally different times. And my son eats at 5:30, which is, I was telling you, like the middle of my workday basically. And for a while I was like eating 2 meals. I was eating his dinner and my dinner, and I was like, something has to give because my jeans don't fit. And I want to eat dinner with my husband because often it's the only time we have to like download and sit with each other. But it's so cute also to like eat with your kids and watch them enjoy food. Like one of the great pleasures of parenting has been watching my kids learn to enjoy food. Do
Is
you feel
Guy a
that
good
way?
eater?
Well, he was picky, and I was like, whose son are you? Like, I know you were in my body. I remember it. But like picky eater. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm picky in terms of like, I would rather starve than eat McDonald's. But and I know that will like rile some feathers because people love like a hungover McDonald's. That was never me. I've never had a McDonald's cheeseburger.
Never?
Never. I couldn't
Wow.
tell you what it tastes like.
I had never had a chicken McNugget until a few months ago. I tried one.
And were you like, this isn't
I
chicken?
was unimpressed. Yeah.
Well, that's because you serve Chick-fil-A with caviar. So
Chick-fil-A nugget is superior to a McDonald's nugget.
Duh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, have you tried Raising Cane's?
Oh, yeah. I think it's so good.
So good.
So good.
Oh, my kid loves that. He introduced it to me. He was like, Mama, we got to go here.
It's good.
It's excellent. But so mealtime is like a total mess. Like half the time, like the TV's on and I'm like still working on my iPad.
What's your breakfast?
Okay, so I don't eat when I first wake up. I'm just not hungry. And like, I'm one of those people, my like one gift in this life is that I never eat when I'm not hungry and I stop before I get full.
Wow,
And
that
it
is
just-
something I have
know.
no idea.
I
how to
haven't
do.
felt like stuffed
Uh-huh.
full in like years because I hate the
Wow.
feeling. And I'm just, every time I'm like, that's not worth it. Like that feeling sucks. I don't want to do that. So it's not even self-control. It just feels natural to me. But I don't eat when I first wake up. Hour and a half after I'm up, after I've done my morning pages, my whole morning routine, I have a coffee and I have it with like the fullest fat cream possible. Like if there's whipping cream in the fridge, whipping cream goes in the coffee, okay?
Almond milk should never go in coffee.
I've never had almond milk. I wouldn't know what that is, but yeah, it sounds bad to me. It sounds
I knew I liked you.
and I like use real sugar. And then probably like an hour after that, that's when I get hungry. And I love leftovers for breakfast. Like I love like a heated up Thai curry in the morning. I like a savory breakfast, you know? I save my sweet treats for later in the day, which I know is the opposite of what you're supposed to do, but it is rare that I crave like French toast or something like that. If I'm out to breakfast, which sometimes I'll do a breakfast meeting, I love a heated up croissant with salted butter and any kind of egg, like poached egg, scrambled egg, doesn't matter, sunny side up, love them all on the side, avocado, green salad lightly dressed. That's like my dream breakfast.
Sounds delicious.
So yummy. If I'm at home, sometimes I'll just make like a couple hard-boiled eggs, jammy in the middle, Maldon salt, cracked pepper, and avocado on the side, and just like kind of pick at it, just to have protein in my stomach.
Delicious.
Yeah.
It sounds perfect.
Okay, I'm glad you approve. Okay.
Yes, fully. I was going to ask, are you salty or sweet? But it sounds like you're salty.
I am salty. I mean, I have my moments where I crave sweet things, but I'm not a candy person. Like, I don't like how it makes my mouth feel. I'm really into dental hygiene, and it always makes my tongue feel gross after I eat candy. So I'm always just like, if I'll have like 3 jelly beans or like one little, I do love a Rolo.
A Rolo.
That's my
okay.
candy of choice. If I'm
I
gonna...
have not heard of a Rolo in a long time.
Okay, you can't get them everywhere anymore.
No, I
But
hardly ever see those.
I love them. I love keeping them in the freezer. I did eat them more when I was pregnant, and I got cavities this pregnancy. And I'm crazy about dental hygiene. They get messed up.
My teeth chipped after having a baby.
Because these little effers suck the life out of you, and they leach nutrients from your bones and stuff. So like you're probably missing calcium or whatever.
One day and all of a sudden my bottom teeth chipped off.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like
they're gonna take it all from us.
Really.
What's your birthday cake?
Sugar Sweet Sunshine, which is a bakery on the Lower East Side. I love their vanilla cake with chocolate frosting. The chocolate frosting has essence of almond in it, so it's like slightly marzipan-y, and the cake is like very dense, akin to a pound cake almost.
Oh, okay.
Like you can tell there's a lot of butter.
I love a chocolate frosting.
But I'm sorry, I have to name one more. I also love Lady M Bakery, which makes those like beautiful crepe cakes. They make a strawberry shortcake in the summer that is so light and divine. And I mean, I could go on and on about bakeries in New York and the different
There's
cakes,
so many
like,
good ones.
I love a
right?
Texas sheet cake. My mom.
Oh, a Texas sheet cake. Forget it. I love it.
If that is in my house, I will pick at it and eat little bites all day
just
long
keep
until it's
cutting off of it.
exactly.
Yes, it's so like rich and gooey. Like like a scoop of vanilla ice cream on that.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Heaven.
heaven.
And a glass of
Heaven.
milk. Because I'm Midwestern.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Indiana. I have to drink
I
milk with
still
my
like a
cake.
glass of milk too.
What's wrong with us?
I know.
People are real judgy
We
about
always
that,
had a
but-
glass of milk at dinner. Like,
Absolutely.
I'd have like spaghetti with meat sauce and a glass of milk. Like,
Same.
better drink your milk, then
Yep.
you can have your sweet tea afterwards. All right, for pizza, are you a New York slice or Neapolitan?
I love them both in a pinch. Oh, that's so hard, but I think I'm New York slice.
What's your favorite?
I think Joe's.
Oh, yeah, Joe's is classic.
Classic.
Classic. What's your kids' food that you always pick off the plate?
Okay, well, my son's obsessed with hot dogs, and I like wasn't really, and he loves pigs in a blanket. And our thing is pigs in a blanket with everything bagel seasoning on top.
Ooh.
And I've like gotten really into those now. And now I see him at a party, and I'm like, I like camp out where the caterers come out because I love them. But
So I'm always standing next to the door where the caterer
oh
comes
yeah,
out
it's
with
first
the
thing
tray.
on the clock when I get to
Yeah,
the party.
it's like, what's the right spot here? What's your ideal food day in New York City?
Okay. So I get up, I go out to get my coffee. I love the Elk. I love Gasoline Alley. I'm like a coffee snob.
Mhm.
And I'm really bothered by this because hotels have not caught up to the coffee standards of a third wave New York City coffee place. And I'm sorry, but when you're staying in a fancy hotel and you're paying like an absurd sum, to have coffee that tastes like Folgers from 1997 is
It's a
not
problem.
acceptable. They got to get it together. I can't name one hotel with an excellent coffee program, and it really bothers me. Okay.
I also want the hotel to have the grab and go coffee in the lobby.
Yeah.
So that I can go down and get a free cup and take it up to my room and relax before I order room service because I want like an hour before breakfast.
Before food.
Yeah.
And also, if you order only coffee from room service and it takes 40 minutes to get to you or
What's the
whatever, it
point?
doesn't make sense.
And I do not want the Nespresso in the room.
I don't like Nespresso.
I
I
think
think
it's
it tastes like dirt.
disgusting.
It
Yeah.
tastes ashy to me. It's
Yeah.
like not a delicious coffee
No.
moment. Okay.
No.
So third wave coffee is my start to the day, but then I also need a breakfast. So recently I've been going to Rafts on Elizabeth Street,
yeah.
which is delicious. Best
Mhm.
roasted chicken.
Really?
French head is also excellent, but one of the
Uh-huh.
best roasted chickens in the city. Sunday night dinner, great because it's quiet in there on
Uh-huh.
Sundays and it's
Okay, good
absolutely
tip.
packed. And they make a great French fry. So I'll go to Rafts. They make beautiful croissant. They have great salted butter. They make their own jam. That with eggs, like I said, little green salad would be wonderful. I think I would have to say for lunch, I'm gonna need a seafood tower
Mm.
and I'm gonna need champagne. So
Where
I
are you
think
going?
I think I'm going to Balthazar.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
Okay,
That's the
right?
best.
I'm like, I have to keep the mermaid part of myself alive. So I need to like go there. I need to hit the oysters. You must like oysters.
Yeah,
Okay.
we like oysters.
And they have just those such beautiful their shrimp cocktail. Like the shrimp is so good. It's like cold and solid and,
And it
dry.
just feels
and
so special.
so special. It feels like a celebration. So I think I would do that. Balthazar salad with no ricotta salata or whatever, however you say it, the like hard
That's
kind
it,
of
yep.
ricotta. I don't like
Mhm.
that stuff. I don't think it needs it. And also their bread basket's glorious. I salt the butter, but
Mhm.
bread basket's glorious. Then I think I'm gonna need a treat. I'm gonna need something to tide me over. So what is my little afternoon snack gonna be? I might go to Sugar Sweet Sunshine and get the Bob cupcake, which is the birthday cake that I like, but in cupcake form. And they also
Nice.
make incredible like pudding cups
Ooh,
with pudding and cake like layered. So
Uh-huh.
it almost like
like a
an
little trifle.
yes, thank you for the fancy word. And then my dinner is going to be, I mean, my favorite Italian in the city is Barpiti.
Oh, yeah.
I think it feels like you're actually in Italy. It's a great steak too. Now, fine dining, like really fine. If I'm going to go to a 3-star, I think per se remains a incredible
never been
experience.
there.
It's incredible. It is true. It's performance art at the highest level. I have so much appreciation for what they do. And like, I don't want to eat like that every day. I don't even want to eat like that every month. But for a really special occasion, I think that is the most beautiful experience I could have. It's so much care is put into every little moment and every mouthful. It's unbelievable. It's just the dedication is mind blowing. Or you could go like really lowbrow and go to Hamburger America. Perfect egg salad sandwich.
There you go. Oh,
Okay,
I
I don't
love
know.
egg salad.
I love a good egg
I
salad.
love egg
I
salad.
just want it simple.
Oh, yes, just mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
maybe
really
like
a vehicle for
a
mayonnaise.
tiny touch of yellow mustard mixed in there for a little tang.
Okay, we need a little flavor, sure, but like we
But
don't have to go crazy
mayonnaise.
with like a bunch of filler. I don't need
Oh,
celery and blah blah blah, you know?
oh no, if you put celery in it,
I don't need
it's
curry.
over.
I don't need
No,
any
nothing.
Okay, did I do
Love
that
egg
right? I don't
salad.
know. I wasn't prepared
I
for
think
that
it
one.
was perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I wanted everything you talked about.
I'm like, and what's my like late night? Like if I'm going out
Yeah,
for
what's
drinks
your late
after dinner,
night?
what's my late night? I mean, probably pizza. Also,
What's your drink? What do you order?
well, I always steer to a martini because I just love the Grey Goose up with 2 olives, not dirty, is excellent for me. But I've like been dabbling in the cosmopolitan era.
Really?
Yeah, and a friend told me that she went to the bar at, I don't know, some like cool like corner store or some cool young people's place recently, and that all the little Gen Z girlies at the bar were also drinking Cosmos, and she was like, we're
back.
on trend, it's back. And like they go down a little too easy, but it is kind of fun to get like a pink drink.
Well, maybe you're the modern day Carrie Bradshaw.
Ooh.
Could be. This was so much fun.
Is it over? I don't want it to be over.
I could just talk to you forever.
I know. The hard part about these is that I'm like not supposed to ask the questions back, you know, but I'm like, I need to know your perfect food day in New York too. Like it needs
just everything. No, this was so much fun. I love you. I'm so glad that we met. I feel
Me
like I
too.
had heard your name around forever and like I knew who
Likewise.
you were. And we
Likewise.
have great friends in common. And so I'm glad that it finally happened.
Yeah, I'm
And here we are. And
so lucky.
congratulations on the Motherlode. This is amazing. I would love for you to sign this and we can do a giveaway
Perfect.
to one of our listeners. I'll put on my Instagram how to win the book.
Okay, I brought a Sharpie.
Oh, great. You're
I'm ready,
prepared.
girl.
I was thinking I only had a pen. So, okay, good. You got a Sharpie. When you're a new author, you got to carry a Sharpie with you
Exactly.
everywhere.
This is very
And
new for
tell
me.
everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Sarah Hoover. You can find me on TikTok and also sarahhoover.com. My website has links to Simon & Schuster and Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all the places you can buy the book.
Everybody's got to read this book. I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you. I love it.
Congratulations.